Sabretooth coming at you today. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. We are going to be painting up our Sabretooth today. We started our X-Men, which is super exciting, coming out next month. So we got some really great videos coming up all this month. Shig started painting his Cyclops, which looked really awesome. I got Sabretooth today. I'm thinking about going traditional colors. I'm not going to do anything weird. Let's just paint the yellow and brown. I think it's very cool. He's also got the white fur, so a lot of like really nice colors that are interesting to talk about and discuss. So, and we're going to use the same, like basically 3 colors for the yellow and the brown. We're just going to use them a little different. So you'll see what I mean as I go. Oh, excuse me. There was too much bump. Need a sip. All right. You've gone quiet. I don't know what's that. Oh, I turned it down just a little bit because it looked like I was redlining. How about that? Is that better? If everybody's ready to go, I'm going to kick it over to the mini cam and we're going to start painting. And that's by going like this. Boop, just like that. Oh man, I moved him. Just like that. Yeah, I turned it down just a little bit because I was redlining it, Josh. Like we were bumping and thumping. All right, so grab a couple of brushes. Don't matter which ones. We're just going to grab a couple. I have a really big mess on my wet palette today. I think I say that every week, but especially today because I've just been painting a ton. Just painting a ton. So I'm just going to grab some nice yellow. And once again, I'm using that Zenith Prime. I'm going to use it to my advantage. That's going to guide me where to place this yellow. So I want it all over. Oh, and if you know his costume, I got my reference over there. I always have reference. Like this zone here in the center of his chest and on the inside of his thighs is a like rich red brown. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of that yellow in there as well. And then as we create our shadows, we're going to amp that up and utilize that yellow as like a highlight, basically. So on the outer surfaces, the yellow will be the midtone. On the inner surfaces, or the red browns, they're going to end up being our highlights. And that's a really good point. Where'd that go? Lancelot de Funk points out that yellow pigments tend to be pretty transparent. That is 100% true. That's just the nature of nature, right? You know, pigments come from lots of different places, and what makes yellow for paint is pigments, and those pigments tend to be very spread out. They're not tightly packed. That's just the nature of yellow. It's just the way yellow works. So I'm using a very warm yellow. Like, it's very close to orange. You can see how I'm applying this. It's sort of just kind of putting the color over, bringing it down almost like a wash, but letting it transparent itself away. So it's like a glazy wash. Sort of a hybrid. I want some of that white to shine through. I want to concentrate the yellow up on those upper surfaces. So I'm not doing a base coat really. I'm kind of building in all my form with the yellow right over top of that zenith. This is going to make this guy go really, really quick. Ms. Zones in Dallas, this may look phenomenal. I would agree. This was sculpted by our very own Marco Segovia, who, in my opinion, knocked it out of the park. Just the musculature on this guy is super good. I like that classic. I should have grabbed my Wolverine. Like when you put the Wolverine next to Sabretooth is when it really comes into focus. Let me grab that. Hang on. Pink under yellow. Yeah, pink under yellow looks really good. Hang on. I'm back. Okay, so we're talking about that pose and that sculpt. I'm putting my microphone back on. And what we really went for is like this right here, right? Is that sweet moment, Wolverine versus Sabretooth. You know, Wolverine's like nice and short. He's looking up at Sabretooth, all ferocious, right? And then Sabretooth is coming down with that big claw swipe, right? That big claw slash, and just ready to, they're just ready to tussle, right? And they look really nice in tableau. Great word, Mr. Will Shakespeare word. So, but anyways, yeah, we're really happy with the way our Sabretooth turned out. Just a great physique and sculpt all around. Just a really fun miniature. Technically claws are brown, but that's we're putting that yellow over everything, right? We're wanting to put a little bit of yellow. Oh, Big Bad Andy, that's high praise, high praise. I don't deserve it. That costume is classic. I had a poster of that in my bedroom. Of that costume, it was like a black background, and that costume, Wolverine's like leaning forward, claws out, and I had that poster in my bedroom. I think 8th grade is when I got that, probably, I think. And what a great poster, and I love that costume. I think it's so good. I still need to do a yellow-blue Wolverine. Like, I'm not going to not do the yellow-blue Wolverine. Just haven't found the time to do that yet. But when I do, I'll definitely be posting and sharing so everybody can see it. Alright, he's got a mask. It goes over his forehead, like that. Put a little bit more yellow. So I'm going very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. Not spend a lot of time in any one place. Maybe amp up the yellow on those thighs and the chest because they're kind of focal points. Like so. Okay, that's a great yellow. All right, let's grab a hot, like nice warm brown. Something like that. You can see how there's a lot of red in there. grab some of my orange. Let's start with a mix of this. Okay, we're gonna mix our warm brown and our hot yellow together. We're gonna start putting some shadows. I'm gonna two brush this. I'm not doing anything mega fancy. I'm not going for studio. Here, I'm just going for speed. And to get that shadow on there, I'm going to drag that down. See, I just drag that right down. That calf lets me accentuate that muscle there, underneath the knees. You know, you can see where the zenith kind of tells you where to put these colors. The zenith is a nice guide. Tells you exactly what you kind of want to know. Let's do the whole back side of that foot, under the calf, bring that up, slide that around with that second brush. Remember that second brush is just a little damp, just a little damp. What color? It's just regular paint, actually. Just a bunch of regular paint. I got like I was saying earlier before I started, I got a heck of a mess on my wet palette. I've been painting a lot today, and just got one heck of a mess. So I got a bunch of weird colors everywhere. So I'm just kind of picking and grabbing. Just start picking and grabbing. The main thing you want when you're painting is, you know, it's not necessarily a recipe. It's just getting in there, and, you know, if you put, you know, I can give you a recipe, but if you don't think about how to apply it, it's probably not going to do any good. So it's getting in there and just practicing, just really having fun and making colors. Like sometimes you just got to make the color just to have a little fun. This is a warm yellow and a hot brown. Like that's all you really need. Just this is regular acrylic paint. Just a warm yellow and a hot brown. So I'm really going to shadow that area, those lats. Why not? How do you think these minis would look in the X-Force colors? Oh, I think that'd be really cool. I really loved that X-Force black and white color costume, especially in the art when they did the eyes like red. I always thought that was just so cool and stark, and a lot of personality, and could be a lot of fun to do. Yeah, Ms. Owen, that's what it's all about. Is just, you know, Schick and I talk a lot about that philosophy, right? It's you know, even though we do have a painting competition, you know, the Worthy. Hopefully you all haven't forgot about that, or that awesome trophy. It's not always about competitions, right? Competitions are cool, and they provide a lot of unique opportunities and celebration of the art. But, you know, sometimes like this I just want to paint something fun. I want to just get in there. I want to try some stuff. I just want to have a good time with my miniature, get it painted up real fast, throw it on the table, get a good game in. So it's not about a competition at that point, right? It's about just the fun and excitement and the joy of painting, right? It's, you know, so, and that's what we strive for, right? That's what we strive for, is that joy of the hobby and camaraderie. Just being positive. This is still like a wash over those bulky biceps, triceps, all those sips. Do a little wash up on those fingers, darken those down a little bit. All right, so you see we kind of did the same two colors so far. That warm brown, that hot yellow, over all the elements. Now we're going to take an umber. You just need a good umber in your. You always need a good umber in your paint selection. And in that, we're going to focus and really start to cover a lot of that inner area. That area on the suit that is darker, we're just going to bring a lot of umber in there. Use those little lines to guide us. Use our zenithal to guide us. Double check my concept. Not necessarily a concept, just using reference. Start darkening up that center of that costume. Yeah, I love this miniature. He's so feral. He's so grumpy. So this is pretty thin, so I'm letting it be thin over top of all that yellow, over top of all those colors. Maybe drag it out a little bit there. Get down those crevices. Those nice suit lines. So see how I want that to kind of cover that up? So that's the goal there. Just like that. I will say Sabretooth is a ton of fun to play. Everybody's talking about Wolverine Sabretooth, like this guy gets work done, let's just say that. Now, even where we're going to put the yellow suit, I want to pick some areas and use the same umber as like a really dark shadow. Like I said, we're just going to use all the same colors here. This is the amount being applied. All that X-Men stuff, it's coming. You're gonna see it. It's gonna be great. really darken. Now we're going in here and we're darkening that center of the costume a little bit more. Now stuff is drying out. I think I just got a little blue on there on accent. That's okay. A little blue on my brown, whatever. This just makes it darker. That's what I want to do. I want to darken this center. Just get that line in the suit. And of course he's got the little slashes. Any Brotherhood affiliation secrets? I've not been given permission to divulge any secrets. We're painting today. Let's just start blocking those in. It's all about approach, and that's my goal, is to kind of demystify and make yellow and whites, less intimidating. I was intimidated by these kind of colors for a long time, and then you just practice and you just do it and you learn and you apply new stuff, and sometimes you fail, and that's okay. It's okay. Let's just darken this up again. I want that center part of that suit to be much darker. We'll add more blue in that in a second, maybe. Let's add more umber. And just get more umber out, like a nice burnt umber. It's a good color. Oh, his gloves. Forgot, let's do his gloves. You don't have to do his gloves. I'm going to do his gloves. It's not necessarily sculpted with them, but that doesn't mean we can't add them. It's got little slashes up here. Little slash over here. Mix some of that umber and some of that warm orange. And do a second shade on the yellows. I'm going to keep this one very minimal. Not a lot, not a heavy shade. Just add a little more depth to that yellow area. And we can talk about highlighting it too. See under here, I just let that get messy. It's fine. Yeah, a little more depth. A little wash. Just like that. Yeah, and we'll throw some highlights on this yellow, hopefully before we end the show. Let's just draw a line there. Boop, right where that little wrinkle is. Inside the foots. That's still primer back there. We'll just cover it all up. Cover it all up. Just like that. Just going real fast. Painting that seam. Bring that shadow, soften the edge. Just like that. Maybe the same right here. A big muscle group. Just accentuate it. It's not undercoated. Who asked that question? Rugger Rub. It's not undercoated blue. It's undercoated just white and black zenithal. And I'm just letting it bleed through, just like you said. I'm just letting that white and black kind of guide me through the process. You know, just kind of going for it. Just letting the paint work for me. Paint wants to do its job. Sometimes you just gotta let it. Alright, I just want to do the whole back of his head in that really dark color. Bring that around. We're gonna let that brow right there be the highlight. We're gonna highlight that area. Sabretooth. What kind of questions we got? Any questions today? I'm just throwing on some dark browns and yellows and just having a good time. Everybody knows we can't talk about future releases. Can't talk about future releases. Alright, do we have any black on the palette? We do. So let's grab a little black. A little of that umber. Mix that together. One more really dark shade on that center of the costume. Just to really darken it out. Kind of like that Jim Lee ink, right? Just a nice dark shadow. The brown and yellow one. This guy? Rawr. They're about to tussle. There's definitely pictures of that guy out there. just darkening up that brown one more time. Just one more time. Now we got that costume. Oh, let's see what we can do here. Can we get a little better on that? There we go. What's your favorite model affiliation to play? Affiliation, what's my favorite affiliation to play? I really like Web Warriors. I'm a sucker for Spider-Man. Really like Spider-Man. I like some other stuff. All right, just mix some off-white in with that same yellow that we used for literally everything. Literally everything. I'm just going to throw some really short highlights on stuff. Once again, I can still see that zenith coming through, right? So I want to use that to my advantage. You know, I let it guide me. Let it guide me. Oh, the strangest shade of green. I mean, we work really far out in advance. The funny thing is you can't even see that shade of green now. It was a undercoat that I mixed up, and it, oh, we messed up. Grab that damn brush, wipe it away. It was one of those, like, I needed a green and just kind of threw something together, and it was like just a really weird looking color, but it ended up working very, very well for like a undertone, but now you can't even see it. Like it's just gone. So and of course I was at the office when I was working on that, so I don't even have the color here. I would just pull it up off my palette. But I was using a palette at work at the office. Just do little highlights here and there on that yellow. What number? What size? I think it's a 2 and a 2. They're worn off. Is what size brushes I'm using. I'm pretty bad about just grabbing brushes and not really knowing what I'm grabbing and just painting with whatever. All right, now we'll take our orange, and because we darkened all this center suit down, that now just makes, this is the same color we started with, but since we darkened everything down, I can just use it as a highlight. Just like that. You know, that's the exact same color we glazed over the entire surface of everything. It's actually the base color of the yellow. And now I just go back and I use the exact same color, and it creates a highlight for our dark browns. maybe we tone it down just a touch with some of that warm brown. I've used 3 colors plus an off-white so far and black. All this is just 3 colors. You know, so the idea here is I just picked a warm yellow, a hot brown, and an umber, and just by applying at different levels, so like all over, less all over, I got two different parts of the costume out of 3 colors. And that really speeds it up, right? Because I was able to throw that entire yellow down first across everything. Sabretooth, I think Tim asked how many poses. Try to remember. I think he went through a couple different ones. The big discussion was making sure, you know, Sabretooth looked good next to Wolverine. Like we really wanted to get, like I said earlier, the word tableau. So we really wanted to get that tableau to him. So not many. My paint was a little thin, that's okay. I'll let it be thin, then I'll go back and I'll cover it with a darker. Nope, and I got sloppy. Clean that up, Dallas. My Lanta. Alright, let's do a skin. Do I have anything that I can use? Looks like I got, let's just make a skin tone here. So this is white, orange, and that warm brown. A nice warm brown that we used on the rest of the miniature, mixed with some orange and some white. We're just going to paint that on his face. Mr. Victor Creed. Not his eyebrows though, those are going to be really white. Those big bushy Sabretooth eyebrows. I'm going to paint the inside of his mouth the same color, and we're going to darken that out with some reds here in a little bit. Like that. Was the first miniature the sculptors completed? Yeah, it was one of the starter sets one. I'll tell you what, the very first Marvel Crisis Protocol miniature ever painted was Red Skull. And he's sitting in my office. I can tell you that. I got paint on my hand, sorry, I gotta clean that off. Yeah, I can tell you that the very first was just me painting a little red skull in about, what, I think 15, I don't know if Schick is in here, but I think I painted in like 15 minutes. This is the very first one ever painted. I need a green. I need a green. I don't think I have a green on my, I don't have a green on my palette. What the heck? If I got any remember that Red Skull. He's sitting there, he's sitting in the office. He's up on that shelf next to all the other wacky stuff I have on that shelf. He's even got a little glowy blue Tesseract. Yeah, there's a cap in America up there too. All right, we're going to mix a little green, and we're going to shade the skin with our green. If you joined in before, you know how I do this. If you're new, welcome. Hello. We're Atomic Mass Games. We make Marvel Crisis Protocol. But the idea is here, Mr. Victor Creed has a light Caucasian skin tone. If you look at almost every skin tone in humans, if you look very, very closely, you can see a little bit of green. So I like to paint that in there. So A-Dealer, it's funny, that conversation Shik and I had on stream. We talk about posing for. Not every miniature somebody poses for. That's I think some people took that out of context. Not every miniature is posed by a person. You know, that was just a fun story. That sometimes we pose. Sometimes I use mannequins. Sometimes you find a reference. And even if I do pose for something, or I make Shik pose, or even Pagani pose, I change it, right? It's not ever, like, even if I were to stand and do this, it wouldn't, like, I wouldn't be in this pose more than likely. It's I'm not nimbly pimbly like a saber-toothed cat, so yeah, I might not be standing on my tiptoe, but you get the motion and then you build around it, right? I remember Wolverine was just me standing in the middle of the studio. I just kept showing Marco over and over, like, I'm like this, like, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean every pose is drawn from a person. You know, you take inspiration where you find inspiration, and you work with it. I need to darken that headband because the headband is dark, and I don't want the blonde hair to get lost. I want some definition there, just like that. I mean, that's how it works sometimes, A-Dealer. Sometimes I'm on a chair, sometimes I'm not. So it all depends. Every miniature is a different story. Every miniature is a different process. You know, we kind of just work very organically, and you know, sometimes somebody in the studio just kind of has an idea, and you know, sometimes we even, you know, kind of change it as we go along through the sculpt. You know, sometimes you're working with the sculptor, and sculptor's like, oh, so what about this arm? And you're like, whoa, like, let's do this. And then the sculptor might be like, oh, turn the head a little bit though. And you're like, yeah, let's do that. Because it's all about making something that looks good in 3D. You know, you know, I look at a lot of comic book images. You know, Shik has an amazing, like, comic book memory of just, man, can pull some stuff out of nowhere. And you're just like, how do you remember that? Josh is the same way. And so sometimes you just kind of know what the character is and what they should be doing, and you build around that. But then a lot of 2D images don't translate to 3D, so you kind of interpret stuff. Like, it's a neat process, and it's a long process, and there's no one way, there's no wrong way. Like, you know, we don't have one singular path to our victories. We like to tell people, Atomic Mass Games, we're scrappy. We We're here to figure stuff out and experiment and learn and just make the coolest darn things we can. So I just add some black, by the way. I just want to darken up a couple of areas. So I'm going to paint his eyebrows black at this point, just to fill them in because they're kind of messing with my perspective of his face, and that's kind of frames it out just like that. That's the way. There we go. I like that. Helps me sometimes. All right, now we need a red. This is red enough. I mean, inspiration comes from everywhere, Mrs. Owen. You know, I love movies and I like some weird, old, wacky horror films and stuff like that. And like, you just never know, right? You consume a lot of stuff and you're just kind of always looking for inspiration. Oh, Leopardon! Leopardon! As like just a great version of Spider-Man. So we're gonna add a little red, especially like guys like Victor here who, you know, you want to amp up the intensity. You know, you put a little red. You know, if he was not masked, I would definitely be adding a lot of red to the brow ridge because it kind of just exaggerates the anger and ferocity. So I just want to put a little red over that green. Red over green makes brown, makes it look even better. And I totally annihilated my flesh color, so that's great. So let's just try to make up a new one. Now, like I said, we get inspiration from a lot of places. You know, comic books and, you know. I read my comics every month. Let's put a little highlight on that cheek. It might be a little too bright. I think it is. Yeah, a little too bright. Let's just get rid of that. Let's darken that down just a touch. Sometimes I'm just kind of mixing something up because I don't have anything on my palette. Just little touches. Ferocity. Yeah, I have play tested Sabretooth. He is a ton of fun to play. This guy will totally put somebody into KO or daze. It's probably all I can say without Josh sending me a text being like, don't say that. It's not time. What color did I use for his skin? The skin was just kind of mixed. Just I picked like like with any skin, there's no wrong way. There's no one recipe for skin. You just kind of pick what you want. And then I added green and low red, and I highlighted it up. Let's take a little black and let's frame in those mutton chops. Maybe we'll throw some 5 o'clock shadow on this guy too. He does have a goat. I just want to soften that just a touch. Don't let it up on the cheeks. Maybe go up just ever so slightly on the side of the mouth. Now he looks like Taylor Mane. He's so grump. I like the idea. Just turn off the phone. Josh can't text me and tell me I'm doing something wrong. Love it. Love it. These guys are thinkers, Josh. They're bad influences for me, Josh. Trying to get me in trouble. Oh. I was using the edge of the brush and throwing a couple of highlights on that hair, and then I'll throw a shade on it. So sometimes I like to, like this, I like to throw that highlight and then I throw a shade on it, and then that highlight kind of works like our zenith. Kind of creates a lighter tone underneath everything and just builds some depth in there. Here we go. We can also work our oh, we only got 5 minutes. Oh my gosh. What kind of brush am I using? I'm using a watercolor brush. So just a good watercolor brush from the art store. So a little bit of blue mixed in with some white and black to make a gray. Just do the tops. Basically clean up my mess, right? I got paint all over it because I was painting so fast. So I want to clean that up to get rid of that yellow and that brown on the fur. And back here, just throw a little bit of this because it's much brighter than our zenith. And plus that little bit of blue adds some depth. How experimental do you ever get with some of these minis? Have you ever painted like a model or miniature with an original take on a color scheme instead of one from Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You mean like this? We like to do all kinds of fun stuff with the miniature. So purple and orange with green glow Taskmaster. For our spooky Halloween, it has a little Taskmaster T-shield. Of course, it's turned like this because of the way his arm is oriented. But yeah, We like to do all kinds of fun stuff. These brushes. I think these are the ones right here. We love that all you heroes are excited. Remember, we're just as excited. You know, like, I don't think you can understand how excited we are to share and show everything. And, you know, we're all on this journey together, right? And you gotta remember that a lot of times, you know, somebody might be asking a question and they might be new to the hobby. They might be new to atomic mass and Marvel Crisis Protocol, you know, so that's why we're all heroes. We're here to make everybody feel welcome and part of the community. So just remember that, like, you know, so it's okay to ask questions. We're just as excited. We might not answer everything. We answer as much as we can. We love talking about Crisis Protocol. We love talking about Marvel miniatures, you know, but we also have you know, we have plans and strategies that we have to follow. So, you know, we answer what we can, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of good time. So if you are new, welcome. And if you got a question, you know, go ahead and ask it. You know, I might not answer it. Schick might not answer it. But, you know, don't be afraid to ask. You know, asking questions is how we learn and how we develop new thought processes and strategies for survival. So we're all for it. We're all for it. I just made up a ugly color. We're going to use the ugly color to do a first shade on the fur. I say ugly color. There's no ugly colors. It's just colors you haven't learned how to use yet. It's almost like a weird desaturated mauve. It's actually, I think, going to work really good for this fur. It's going to add a little warmth to it, which is good. And then I'll keep the mid and the highlight nice and cool. So we're getting that contrast that we always talk about. I'll go a little darker on that too. Yeah, I can't talk about anything that hasn't been announced or released. That's just the unfortunate part of it. Oh, let's add a little blue to this dark shade color. I got that little bit of Hold Your Blue on my palette. There we go. See how that worked? Looks great. back here to frame his face. It's true, we haven't seen Gamers Web UK. He's always in here. Somebody should check on him. Josh, I'm in the zone. Are you gonna make me quit? He's gonna make me quit. I mean, I got work to do anyways. Toad? Yeah, I think the main, I always consider the main part of the suit because the way it goes down. I mean, if he's got two weird stretches of hair that goes down his chest and he specifically cut spaces out for, that's kind of bizarre. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's not. His goatee and wait, his goatee is, or his mutton chops are definitely yellow. Definitely blonde. I've always loved Sabretooth. I got that sweet first appearance, or not first appearance, that first costume fight between him and Wolverine, or uncostume fight between him and Wolverine in Wolverine number 10. Classic cover, classic issue. And then, of course, the first costume fight between them in X-Men, was it Uncanny X-Men 253, I think, if I remember correctly. I got it in my bedroom, but I accidentally painted his chin kind of dark. Sorry. Yeah, we'll go a little bit longer. Not too much. I just want to get a little bit more of that fur done. Just throw some highlights on. Let me get this shade on there, and then we'll throw some highlights on it. Then we'll call it an afternoon. Just like that. Okay, there's shade. So I'm going to grab some white and a little blue, a little black. I'm going to dry off my brush. I want to get a nice sharp point. I don't want a whole lot of paint coming off this. I'm going to start top right here. And I'm just going to zip. Oh, that's not, that paint's too thin. There we go. Just like that. I'm just kind of picking right above the fur tufts, top edge, just kind of drawing a line. They can be messy. It's fur. And as we established, it's fur that he's added to his costume. I mean, if you're as ferocious as this fella and you nickname yourself Sabretooth, I get why he added fur to his costume. Just amps up the intimidation factor. Not necessarily the healing factor. but definitely the intimidation factor. Dallas, do you know the artist off the top of your head from this vague description? When I was younger, I had a comic that featured a panel of Wolverine. Said, "Yep, Wolverine and Juggernaut." I actually, fun story. That same picture of Wolverine. He's wearing a tank top, sleeveless shirt. He's wearing jeans. He's got a cowboy hat. He's got his claws popped. They're right underneath Juggernaut. Juggernaut's fists are clenched. I took a piece of 4 foot, I think it's 4 foot by 3 foot, or 3 foot by, I think it's 4 foot by 3 foot piece of canvas, and I redid that cover myself. Like I basically just looked at it and drew it on this giant piece of white canvas. I did it all in black ink. I don't think I ever colored it. And a friend of mine has that. It's been damaged over the years. The last time I saw it was, man, probably 18 years ago. And it had gotten pretty damaged. But that, I believe, was Adam or Andy Kubert. It was one of the two. Josh is saying Adam Kubert. I couldn't remember if it was Adam or Andy. Drew that. And I love that image so much. And my friend, like I said, my friend has that that I did, but it's been pretty damaged over the years, and that's just what happens sometimes. But yeah, I totally love that image of just Wolverine in the cowboy hat and the jeans, and he's just like standing up to the Juggernaut. I mean, I think it's fair to say I'm pretty much a fan of any Marvel character. Like, I don't think me identifying one. I like a lot of them. So is this more white? I have to get a hold of my friend. I'm kind of curious of like if he still has that piece and how damaged it is. But it's all done in India ink. And it took me forever. I remember laying in the middle of a living room floor of my girlfriend's house, working on that thing forever, just going through and just using pen nibs and black India ink to draw that thing. That was like, oh boy, I drew that in probably 95, I think 95. Pretty sure it was 95 when I drew that. All right, and our white fur is much more poppy. And then what we'll do is, like I said, we'll take some of that warm brown. It's the same warm brown we used on the suit. And we'll just shade that hair ever so slightly. Starting on the back, I usually drag it forward, kind of tints that blonde to be a little more warm. There we go. And then I'll actually go back and highlight it again. All right. So let's kick it back over here to this. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Marvel or Atomic Mass Transmissions on Instagram. This month, the hashtag painting protocol is spooky. So you can paint up something spooky. Maybe it's a Ghost Rider. with some spooky green flames. Maybe it's a Taskmaster. Maybe it's a, I don't know, maybe it's a spooky Tony Stark. I don't know. Get creative and try something fun, you know. I could totally see a spooky Tony Stark now. Post it up on Instagram with the hashtag painting protocol, and every month we're going to go through and we pick some of our favorites and we showcase them here on the show. Check us out on Twitter, check us out on Facebook for all the latest news and information and all that good fun stuff that we all love. We'll go back to here. And remember, Atomic Mass Transmissions Live every Tuesday. Join Mr. Will Schick. Next week, he will be painting. Can I tell him what they're painting? I know what he's painting. I actually know this week. I actually remember what both of us are painting next week. And let's just say it's going to be a blue week. It's blue week next week. Wait, is that true? Oh no, that's not true. I was wrong about that. I think it's the week after that is blue week. Something like that. Anyways, every Thursday, join me, and we paint, we have fun, we talk about stuff, ask questions, and just have a good time. So until next time, be the hero you want to be the hero you can be, and we'll catch you later. Bye guys, thanks for joining in. Now is when the music starts. Sabretooth is almost done. Gotta finish Sabretooth. Then I take a picture of my Sabretooth. Put it up on the Instagram. You can see my Sabretooth. Ba-bum-bum-bum.